palpable panic on Wall Street, red numbers, and worries about something else that starts with an R, recession.
What we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time.
He's talking about that period of transition is what he's talking about is his firm belief that tariffs are going to be the main way that the United States brings in revenue. Never mind what they do to the prices that people actually pay when they purchase goods in a global economy. I mean, Scott, virtually no one who understands economics believes that tariffs are a good idea, including all those people that we played in the clip to get into this conversation, most of whom side with Trump. They believe in Trump. They're supporters of his.
Yeah, he firmly believes in it. It's his theory. And guess what? He ran on it and he got elected on it. And for his theory to take root, it will take some period of time. And he will rise and fall on this theory.
Are you comfortable with Trump rolling the dice on the United States' economy based on his hunch that we should go back to, the McKinley era tariffs?
Yes. Yes, Abby, we are comfortable because he did it the first term with a great economy and he's actually doing it again. And guess what? The experts say that his agenda, his economic policy is working. Look.
The left and people that don't like the president and don't want things to work. And, like Senator Elizabeth Warren will come on and say, inflation's out of control and the economy is getting killed by what's happening by these tariffs. This 3% with the market at new highs, and really we haven't seen inflation, go up back to 3%. Maybe it will this week. Maybe we'll see it. But none of these horrible things have happened, but they still talk like it's happening. It's amazing.
Well, there's an important lesson there. Don't pick a congressman to be your money manager. That's what I would say. But in the end, Congress has their own reasons to point out certain things. And the Democrats, of course, as you pointed out, really don't want to see the current administration have some success. But there's no doubt that this is some success. We're seeing more horsepower. We're seeing better equities. Inflation really hasn't changed much in the last.
Wow. CNBC singing the praises of President Trump. All right, folks, we're going to get into that and more. What's up? It is Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And Shelly E.
Hi.
All right, Yana is out on vacation, but she will be back with us soon. We got to get into this. So before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications, folks. As you guys come in, hit that like button. It really helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. And we have a goal. We need your help. With your help, we can hit 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day. We can do it with you guys. So share, like this, and subscribe. All right, if you catch us, if you're on the go, you can watch us or actually listen to us on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts. We're live right now on Rumble also. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat, so it's the best way to get your voice heard. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. We already have a super chat for the night. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Kung Fu CJ says, let's go Poppin' Politics family. All right. Yes, we are about to get it on. All right. Thank you so much. Laura Jenkins with the $5.
Thank you, Laura.
Yes, indeed. Says, yes, I continue to support Trump and tariffs. We too. We're the same right there with you, Laura. Thank you so much. All right. So let's get into this. As you guys saw, I mean, once again, that was actually Abby Phillips, CNN host, in March, fear mongering. Of course, they never give any type of balance as far as how President Trump's economic agenda or his policies are going to affect the country. They go to doom and gloom every chance they get, and she was dead wrong. Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
See, that's part of the big problem with these people. They don't give the other side. Now, to say that all experts, first of all, I'm sick of people talking, everybody's an expert. So what? We should know by now that experts were grossly proven wrong during the scamdemic. So I don't know why all this faith in experts is so important, number one. Number two, she forgot to mention that the stock market was at record highs, right?
Yeah.
I think we talked about this the other day. In July or June, tariffs brought in billions of dollars, and we are in the black. And maybe for July too. So it may be 2 months that we're in the black. Yes, we have some long-term debt and deficits, but right now, month to month or same period over last year, we're in the black, and that's a good thing. Get it right, Abby Phillips. At least try to show some balance and at least bring in some actual truth to your conversation. You're just one-sided, and that's what they come off as, just TDSers. That's all they look like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
I agree with Shelley. I think one of the most important things in being a broadcaster, being a news person, is being fair and balanced. Mm-hmm. And she's not doing either one of those things. You know, she's fear-mongering because that's what the Democrat talking point was at that time. But now that the economy has turned around, now that we're in a better place, and we can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, it's going to take some work. Like Shelley said, yes, we have some long-term debt and a couple of other things. I think trade deals that Trump would really, really like to get worked out. But for right now, we've righted the ship. Yeah. You know, if this was a household budget, somebody could quit one of their part-time jobs. You know what I mean? So, you know, we're in a place now where Trump is making some really good decisions. Secretary Bessent is making some really good decisions. Eventually, the Fed will do the right thing. Eventually. It might be a longer eventually than we like, but the interest rates will come down. And, you know, Americans are consumers. We're going to borrow money to buy things, and it's going to help our economy.
Absolutely. And another thing that President Trump and Congress did, they pushed the agenda. They wanted us to, or at least with this big, beautiful bill, crack down on fraud in government, in social programs, and of course, every bit of the way, the Democrats have tried to stop them from doing this. And guess what? So a story out today about a Louisiana woman who bought a Lamborghini while collecting Medicaid. So this isn't just a case of one woman lying to get benefits. This is the natural result of Democrat policies that prioritize feelings over facts. Mm-hmm. So while Trump, as I mentioned, pushed to tighten Medicaid with the big, beautiful bill to cut fraud and restore order, Democrats blocked every step of the way, claiming it would hurt the poor. But guess what? Who's really hurting? You, me, the taxpayer. Mm-hmm. And guess who's getting rich? People like this woman, Candace Taylor, who again bought a Lamborghini while collecting welfare. This is clip 13. Take a look.
Bought a Lamborghini and property and got plastic surgery while fraudulently receiving Medicaid benefits. Louisiana's Attorney General's office says Candace Taylor's businesses brought in more than $9 million in revenue during a nearly 5-year span. Investigators say at the same time she underreported her income under a fake name. Agents arrested the 35-year-old yesterday and booked her with government benefits fraud.
Wow, $9 million in 4 years. She's a millionaire.
They said businesses, so apparently she had more than one. Mm-hmm. The only thing I could guess was that she had some businesses that were collecting Medicare or Medicaid payments for, I'm going to say patients, for patient care. That's the only thing I could think, because they didn't specifically say what her businesses were. But Candace is representative of the fraud, abuse, and waste that goes on in these big social programs anyway. I looked up some stats, and real quick, Medicare and Medicaid combined bring in about, or at least they contribute to $30 to $60 billion a year in fraud, waste, and abuse. A year. Both of those programs, I combined the stats, okay? The programs are too big. One of the major causes for the fraud, waste, and abuse is improper billing and improper accounting, if you will, for the payments and who gets them. So the programs are too big. I don't care how many people they have working at Social Security or Medicaid office. It's too big. That means the government is too big. It's ripe for fraud, waste, and abuse. And then to add more and more regulations and laws on top of it, when the other laws that are there are not even working or they don't even apply them. So these programs are ripe for abuse. And then this woman, I mean, okay, if you have a legitimate business and you make $9 million a year, buy your Lamborghinis. But they do it on other people's dime.
Yes, and that's the problem. The problem is this is some woman who could clearly afford her own insurance.
A Lamborghini.
Really? Well, she had plastic surgery.
Oh, yes. Right.
On a taxpayer dime.
Yes.
I'm just going to assume it's probably like a BBL, breast enhancement, something like that. But she clearly has enough money to do that. They said that she had several very expensive luxury cars. She's been on lots of very expensive trips. This, ladies and gentlemen, is greed. This is the type of greed that's biblical. You know what I mean? It's different. Like you stayed on 6 months too long. You know what I mean? But you kind of needed it, deserved it, a lower income person. But $9.5 million went through this woman's hands. Wow. And she decided to use the taxpayer money for her BBL or her tummy tuck or whatever thing she had. And then bought herself a Lamborghini. And then was dumb enough to post it online.
I know.
This is what kills me.
They can't help it.
There's no shame.
Bring back shame. Isn't that just the guy saying all the time?
That's the guy.
Bring back shame. And bring it back fast because she's not the only one. This is in a little town in Louisiana, in Slidell. If they're checking for Slidell, wait till they get their hands on New York City.
And she's only 35.
35.
That's relatively young.
Yeah.
So
however many even on it.
Yeah, so however long she's been doing this for is amazing. And then, another thing I was thinking about, you said there's no shame, but to me it's also a reflection of millions of people who had this entitlement mindset, right? They believe that the government owes them this and they're going to get this from the government, as they say, and they have no inclination that, you know what, maybe this is not a good thing, but I'm going to milk it for what it's worth. But I'm going to take a segue here, shameless plug. This wench got $9 million in a Lamborghini. We just want you to give us $200K by Labor Day, okay? $200K doesn't cost you anything except to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That's what we're asking you. Doesn't cost you a penny. You will not lose your good government benefits.
Right, exactly. Look, S-Files, it's her birthday.
It's her birthday.
Yes, thank you.
On September 2nd.
Yeah, so she's one of our moderators, S-Files, on here, and that would be the perfect gift for her.
It sure would.
We hit 200,000 subscribers, folks, so we need your help. Because guess what? Abby Phillips can go on CNN and just tout all these lies and just push, miscommunicate and push fake narratives, and she gets paid probably millions of dollars, if not just close, and gets all of this publicity from CNN. We're doing this independently on our own, so we really need your help. Please, as you guys come in, hit that like button, share this on a DM, share it on your social media, and subscribe. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day. Because guess what? Another thing I want to say before we move on, President Trump has been talking about this fraud over and over again, and they said he was cruel. They said that there's no fraud. He's making this stuff up. I mean, they have Democrats on CNN, MSNBC, all over pushing back against him. And here we have a perfect example. And this is just who got caught.
Keep this in mind, folks. Whenever Dennis Prager put it this way, the bigger the government, the smaller the people. And that is that's like a truism, right?
That's true.
So the bigger the government program, the less likely it is to be well managed, accounted for, to give a full accounting of the spending, the revenue, who's using the things like that. The bigger the program, the more monstrous it becomes, and nobody really has a handle on it. You can add X many laws and regulations and tweak this, but it needs needs to be cut down to size. And the people who are squawking about doging and reducing Medicare and Medicaid benefits, particularly for those who don't even belong on the rolls, those are the people who are trying to pull your leg, or I'm going to say like Judge Judy, they're trying to rain on your leg and pee on your leg and tell you it's raining.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of cutting, auditing these systems, cutting back, we got to talk about illegal immigration. All right, so imagine being a criminal in this country and a judge tells law enforcement they're not allowed to arrest you. That's not a plot twist in a movie, folks. That's real life in Gavin Newsom's California. So an illegal alien who shouldn't even be in the country was shielded from ICE with a restraining order. 2 weeks later, he's arrested again for multiple crimes, including stealing a car with a baby inside. This is not immigration reform. This is open borders insanity. Take a look at this. This is clip 1.
2 weeks ago, Guillermo Reyes was at a rally outside federal immigration court in San Francisco, where his attorneys argued the tattoo artist should remain out of ICE custody because he's lived in the U.S. since he was 6 years old. They contend Reyes is being unfairly targeted for deportation because of his activism, but he also has a criminal history, including a conviction for stabbing a rival gang member in 2013.
To be honest, according to the conversations that I've had with immigration officers, we're all criminals to them just because we weren't born here.
But you do have a record.
Yeah, but just like I do have a record as a juvenile.
The judge granted Reyes a temporary reprieve, but this past Sunday, he was back in custody, accused of several new crimes. Berkeley police say the bizarre string of incidents started here when Guillermo Reyes called 911 to report a possible break-in. Officers arrived to find a broken window and found Reyes with a bloody hand. They took some information and left. 4 hours later, someone at this cafe called 911 for medical help.
Initially, I called in as a medical for a male breathing heavily, but now possibly a fentanyl overdose. Braids, no shirt, tattooed.
Police soon learned about a string of carjacking incidents. One happened here at this bakery, where the 3-year-old was in the backseat of a car, but Reyes was unable to get away because he didn't have the keys. And here at this gas station, where the 70-year-old victim was able to douse Reyes with gasoline before she was knocked down. And then down the block, where a big rig Reyes was driving stalled before he could get away.
Well, we got one detained here, and narcotics deployed.
In the end, Reyes was taken into custody.
Wow. All right, we got to unpack this because I'm a little confused here. So the first call they made about this, where they said it was a break-in, he called the police. Is that right?
Sounds like he did.
So was it him doing these carjackings?
Yes, allegedly. They allege that he was doing the carjacking and carjacked the car with the 3-year-old or something.
Yeah, he put it
in the back, a toddler in the back of the car. But there's so much to unpack in this story.
I think it was him because he was overdosing. He had overdosed. So he probably needed help. So he did the break-in or whatever and called the police. But this is the thing. He's not even embarrassed, let alone, afraid to even be on TV, showing his face committing these crimes. But above or beyond, what's his name? Reyes.
Guillermo
Reyes. Okay. The judges. These judges they're not really judges. Yes, they might have taken an oath. They have their credentials. Okay, whatever. But they are activists. Yes. They are activists, and they are anti-American activists. I don't know what constitution they are upholding. Maybe it's the Mexican one, or maybe somewhere in Europe. But they are not American, upholding the law for America. ICE needs to take them up when they go get these criminals. I don't even understand how this law can apply, because the federal law would supersede California's law. These laws, every law is not valid. Let me say it that way. Or is not right just because it's a law. There's so many laws that contradict each other, and in this case, the federal law would have precedence.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Nicole?
It's pure politics from beginning to end. Him being in the commercial, I call it a commercial. But, we can't deport him. We can't arrest him. You know, he has this protected status because he's been in this country for 25 years illegally. We're going to see a lot more of this because there are a lot of people who were brought here by their parent or a loved one or somebody when they were children. And, people call them dreamers, DACA. I call them illegal. Right. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. Parents make bad mistakes all the time and children have to deal with the consequences. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. But this is California saying, no, we're going to protect these people, even if they carjack a car with one of your children in it.
Wow.
One of your children. But just listen to him. He's been in this nation 25 years. Mm-hmm. And you guys know my heart. I'm not being racist in this, but he sounds like he just came from Mexico yesterday. Like, what's going on? He does not sound like an American citizen. He does not. He doesn't give that ring of Americanism that we're used to hearing from young people. Moreover, he was gleeful.
Yeah.
You can't touch me. I'm untouchable.
Yeah, you heard him saying the party line. He was saying, what did he say in the beginning of it? He was saying how, they called me illegal just because I'm here illegal. Right. I haven't done anything illegal. Yes,
of course you've done something illegal. He has
a whole crime record.
He has a record. But here's the thing. Up until maybe January, having a criminal record was something that they frowned upon, but they did no action for it, right? Especially for these so-called children that grew up here, these dreamers, these DACA people who grew up here. They feel like, this is the only nation I've ever known. How are you going to deport me to a nation that I've never been to? But again, like I keep telling you, they got passports to these foreign nations. They're a citizen of that nation.
Well, we got another one here. Before we go, I want to acknowledge our super chatters here.
Hi, brown eyes.
Pretty brown. I was say pretty brown eyes.
I thought you were going to break out singing. Break out singing, KJ.
Take my brown eyes.
I don't even know that one.
That Crystal Gale. You don't know that Crystal Gale?
I don't know that.
Oh my God, KJ.
The only brown eyes I know is pretty brown eyes.
That's
I see you.
Somebody at Stokely so he can watch that from Mint Condition.
Crystal Gale got Mint Condition.
Mint Condition, yeah, Mint Condition. Brown Eyes, thank you for the $20 super chat. She says, hello to my favorite ladies. I love your views. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Brown Eyes. But you said it, Nicole, talking about people who have been here forever and they don't expect to get deported. Take a look at this next clip. So this woman says her illegal husband didn't apply for U.S. citizenship for over 20 years because of his pride. This is clip 8.
Just stay down, or I have to get up and I have to show my
clip
babies. 8? You fight for what's right. You fight for the people that you love.
Takia Navas is forced to fight because her husband is currently in ICE custody.
My husband is in Lubbock right now because of the big hailstorms. He has a roofing business, and so he's there to do roofing jobs. And he was pulled over immediately by the sheriff for supposedly a traffic stop. Immediately once he was pulled over, an unmarked car showed up with ICE agents that got out, removing him and the other gentleman.
He was turned over to ICE for not having a license. Eventually, he was transferred to a detention center in Eden near San Angelo.
He says it's completely packed full of so many people, obviously, that they are just shoving in there. And it's a complete chaos.
What was your main message to your husband when you talked to him that you wanted him to know?
I'm fighting for him. I'm going to get you out. I'm doing everything in my power.
If somebody's watching today and says, well, he was in the country for 22 years. Why did he wait so long to get a citizenship? What would you say?
I pushed for it years ago when she was born, almost 7 years ago. And he's like, but I don't want it to look like that's why I'm married to you. And, maybe even a part of his pride, too, was what stood in the way, but never because he didn't want it to look like, he's using his country for that.
He's in the country for, he's been using it for 20 years.
That doesn't even make sense. What the hell? First of all, okay, he's been here 20-something years, however long he's been married. What does that mean? Because of his pride. You didn't find that much pride in staying here legally and sucking off the American tit, whatever you were doing. And they took pictures. They had their wedding. They had 3 babies. I mean,
I feel sorry for the children.
I do feel sorry for the children, but I'm also for children staying with their parents and going wherever the parents go. And how the hell is she going to fight to get him out? No, he belongs where he is, and I encourage you, families that stay together, families that pray together, stay together. Be together. Go be together.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Nicole? I know you.
I'm exhausted with these folks. I really am. You know, your heart kind of goes out to the children because they don't know what the heck's going on. But here's a person who had 22 years to get it right. 22 years to get it right. No, you can't tell me you couldn't afford it because you got the beautiful, you know, wedding photos with the gown and it's seaside, and you got all the little anchor babies lined up.
Professional photographer.
Yes. Lovely home, you know, all of that.
Building a home on shaky ground.
Listen, shaky ground. You're building a home in a country you don't belong.
Right.
How dumb are you? And again, can we go back to these banks and people who are supporting illegals doing this in this nation? There has got to be a concerted effort to shut that down. Again, once we stop handing out freebies, they will go home.
Yeah, well,
they will.
If
I agree.
not home and to take them, home and to send them.
Yeah, oh yeah, he going to. And if they don't want to go back to their home country, they're going somewhere. But I mean, folks, we have been talking about this. The Republicans have been talking about this. Most Republicans, like I should say, for a while now.
Yes.
No amnesty, close the border, and get these illegals out of here. But it was a Republican who kind of started this amnesty.
Unfortunately.
Take a look here, J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he is giving a history lesson about Ronald Reagan. This is clip 7.
Turn these states blue forever. The same way they've done California.
Exactly. And we saw this. And look, I'm like a Reagan guy, right? I'm a conservative Republican. But Reagan screwed up a lot. He screwed up mental health in this country. People don't talk nearly enough about that.
The amnesty thing he really screwed up.
The amnesty thing he really screwed up.
Yeah.
And people always say, well, you know, Ronald Reagan, you know, when they, critics of Donald Trump will say, well, look at how Reagan talked about immigration. Because of what Ronald Reagan did at the 1986 amnesty, California is now effectively a permanently blue state.
Except when Arnold won.
But Arnold ran as a super moderate Republican. He was a major celebrity, right? He was at the height of his celebrity power, and he still won barely, even though California had been mismanaged. California is a one-party state because of Ronald Reagan's amnesty.
And that's the fear, is that the entire country could become one party.
The entire country becomes that. Now, it also, you may not appreciate this, but even if you don't give people the right to vote, it really distorts congressional apportionment and then the Electoral College. You know how this works?
Yes,
okay.
I do. But explain it to people, please.
Okay. So how many, you know, we have 435 congressional seats. The way that you draw those congressional districts is that you try to draw them evenly based on population so that everybody has equal representation, right? One person, one vote, fundamental principle of American law. But you don't just count the American citizens. You also count the illegal aliens. And so, for example, the state of Ohio lost a congressional seat in the last census, and states that have high illegal immigrant populations picked up congressional seats. So you're actually taking away congressional representation from American citizens and giving it to illegal aliens. Even if you don't give them the right to vote, you're still destroying the voting power.
This is what they're doing. This is what the Democrats are banking on, folks. And J.D. Vance was right. Just a little history here. So in 1986, Reagan signed the Immigration Reform and Control Act, IRCA, also known as the Simpson-Mazzoli Act or Reagan Amnesty. This federal law granted amnesty to approximately 2.7 to 3 million undocumented immigrants who had resided in the U.S. continuously since January 1st of 1982, allowing them to apply for temporary legal status and eventually citizenship after paying, guess how much they had to pay? $185. $185 fee, demonstrating good moral character and meeting other requirements. So about 1.1 million of those legalized under IRCA were in California, primarily Latino agricultural workers and their families. And the rest is history. It's been blue ever since. Nicole, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I love Ronald Reagan. I have loved Ronald Reagan since I was a small child. He was one of my pen pals. He sent us jelly beans in the mail.
Oh, yeah, you said
he was a great president. However, he was not perfect. He was not a perfect man. He never walked on water. You know, he's definitely Californian. And his view of immigration was Solomon-esque, right? So there was a decision to be made, and rather than make a decision to side with either part, he kind of split the baby in half, right? Amnesty for this limited time only kind of sale for $185, although back in the 80s that was some money.
Okay.
That was some money back in the 80s. But it bothers me tremendously that, you know, they said, well, Ronald Reagan did that amnesty and it kind of, you know, screwed everything up. What have you done for me lately? What have you done? We have had, what, 50, 60, maybe, you know, opportunities to do something with immigration. And again, as per usual, Congress kicks the can. Nobody wants to be the one to say it out loud. No one wants to be the one that says, look, they got to go. Because politically, it's suicide. As someone who has a political future, when you say certain things, even if you say it here on the internet, people are going to tag you in it for the rest of your days. But hear me clearly, we cannot continue at this pace. We simply can't. Amnesty is a horrible idea. It was a bad idea in the 80s. It's an even worse idea now. Think of all the people who waited 10, 15 years to get here, who paid all their fees, had their exams, did all the things that they needed to do to become green card holders here in the United States. People have gone on since to become naturalized citizens, that kind of thing. Everything that they've went to be here in this country, and we're just going to say, well, all the illegals who jumped the border, y'all could stay. It doesn't matter. We're not returning any of these people's money. We damn sure can't give them back their time. We're devaluing our birthright by giving amnesty. And anyone who says, oh, just let them stay, you know, I've got some real trouble with that. I've got some real troubles with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shelley?
Well, okay, I have a slightly different take. I agree with Nicole in that Congress, yes, President Reagan signed that bill, but during that time, I think it was the 98th Congress I wrote down here, the House was run by Tip O'Neill, a very famous speaker, but the Senate was a Republican majority. So if the Congress, Senate and Congress together, if they did not send that bill, President Reagan would not have had a bill to sign it, number one.
Exactly.
And they could have overridden him had he vetoed it. Or at least it still would have been up in the air, so to speak, right? So my blame always lies ultimately at Congress's feet, Senate included, because they are the ones who they write the bills, they appropriate the funds, and they are the ones who are supposed to be representing the people. That's number one. Yes, President Reagan signed the bill. However,
if I could jump in just really quickly. So there was a little bit of politics behind this. So that bill that they wrote was to make up for a previous bill, so Proposition 187. So that, and what that did was, I think, so they had some type of bill that had stopped illegals from. They did something. I had it in my notes that stopped illegals from being in the United States for some period of time, and it backfired. Like, a lot of Latinos got upset with them, and so that's why they decided to do this bill to allow them to get an amnesty. But it was something that happened before.
So you're talking about probably the Amnesty Act of 1872?
No, it wasn't that.
Okay. But
go ahead.
Okay, but nevertheless, this is part of the problem. We have a Congress, again, I'm including Senate in the big picture. We have Congress who think that they can always make up for something else, and you cannot go back and rewrite history.
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, even since 1986, we still have had Republicans, supposedly fiscally conservative or socially conservative people who have agreed to amnesty. John McCain put a bill forward. And so we still have a divided Congress, if you will, who are not representing the people. The American people are the ones getting screwed. This is why I get upset, or people get upset with me when I point out, you know, our side has done some foolish things or wrong things, if you will, as well. It's not just the Democrats. Yes, I'll say the left in general are very foolish and immoral 99% of the time, but our party goes along with it as well in many cases, and the economics don't bear out. If these amnesty bills have worked so well, why do we keep needing more?
And why do we keep getting people here illegally? 10 million plus people in the last few years or so. So they're not working. How about just say no? You cannot come here. You will not come here illegally, and you will not be living here 10, 20 years with your anchor babies and your anchor families, and then coming on the news, being a criminal and being proud of it, and telling me that you didn't get married because you don't want to feel like that's why you were here. Yeah, that's why you were here. Go ahead and get married, come here legally, and then have your children, and then use your efforts and your talent to make the American dream or whatever that may be. I'm sick of it. I don't know why many of my American fellows are not, regardless of party. I don't give a damn if you wear a D or an R. It's our money, and we are the people. You work for us, not the other way around.
So let me just say this. So as we've said, in the 80s, they did this and it was a bad plan. But I don't believe they were doing it in order to change the country or to, I don't think Reagan signed this bill thinking that, we were going to, it was like a census issue or they're changing the country for votes. But now the Democrats are doing this to change the country.
Absolutely.
This is full replacement theory. This is what J.D. Vance was saying. They are doing this to gain power in Congress and to change the makeup of our country. And you have the black community continuing to vote for Democrats, and they're actually going to vote for your own demise because they're trying to replace you with these illegals, and you just don't get it.
Absolutely.
And we have here, so one of the biggest leaders in this push is Jasmine Crockett. Before we get into this, I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you so much. All right, we have Laura. Thank you for your super sticker. Thank you so much. All right, who else do we have? We have, I think that's it. All right.
Another Laura.
No, Laura again. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Laura.
Okay, yes, perfect. Thank you guys so much. Your super stickers, your super chats go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. It is our last show of July.
Oh, that's right.
It is
our last show of the month.
Oh my gosh. So it really goes a long way. We would like to end the month with a bang, and we really appreciate every last super chat and super sticker.
Do we have another clip?
All right, we do have another clip. So I want to talk to you guys about Jasmine Crockett. Okay, so we know she has been sounding the alarm on she's been pushing lies about the redistricting in Texas. She has been pushing for illegal immigration and to stop the deportations. And this next clip was really good, folks. So last night, Colonel Alan West was on the All American Talk Show.
Yes.
He was here actually live in the studio, and he torched Jasmine Crockett. Now, he said he lives, I believe, in Jasmine Crockett's district. Take a look what he had to say about Miss Crockett. This is clip. This is clip.
Well, first and foremost, a little history lesson. The largest state Republican Party in the United States of America is out of the state of Texas, correct?
Yes.
The Republican Party of Texas was founded on Independence Day of 1867 by 150 black men in Houston, Texas. So I think she needs to study her history. While black men were creating the Republican Party of Texas, white Democrats were creating the Ku Klux Klan in Texas. Right. And Juneteenth was also something that was the enablement of the Emancipation Proclamation back in June 19th of 1865, when black soldiers landed there at Galveston, and the Union General announced that the slaves were finally free. So she needs to do a little bit of studying. But when I hear her talk about this inherently racist and all of this type of stuff, one of the things she needs to realize is that 12 or 14 border counties in the state of Texas went for Donald Trump in the last election.
Yep. Right.
That's all along the Rio Grande. That's not, majority white area down there. The other thing she needs to understand is, why are we looking at this redistricting in the state of Texas? Two reasons. Number one, back in 2022, when we started the census, guess what was happening? Joe Biden had come into office and he opened up the borders. And so we had a flood of people coming into the United States of America, and definitely Texas, which has 1,249 miles of border. And the Democrats, her party, wanted these people to be counted in the census. Not citizens, but they wanted everybody. Numbers, people here illegally. Now, that is really unconstitutional because citizens are supposed to be the ones represented. And that's the whole purpose of having a census, is to make sure that we are apportioning districts the right way. The other thing,
stop you there for a second? It always reminds me, whenever you hear this, and I'm curious what you have to say, of the reason we had the 3/5 compromise in the first place. Because the slaveholders wanted to count their slaves a full person.
Absolutely.
So
Down
they could have
south.
more power.
Absolutely.
And now the Democrats want to count illegal aliens
so they can have more power.
It's the same playbook, only a couple hundred years later.
Yes.
Democrats love slaves. They love anybody they can manipulate. And you see what they're doing, the same thing they did many generations ago, they're doing it again.
Massa always needs slaves to plow the land.
Oh my gosh.
Always. And they always looking for free labor. But look, to your bigger point, every law, bill, whatever, Amnesty Act or whatever, there are always unintended consequences. And there's always consequences that are not even known at the time that could possibly, come about later for the manipulation of whatever the law is. That's a principle that applies across the board. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, this is the United States of America. The government, if you will, they work for us, not the other way around. And most Americans are sick of these illegal aliens and they want them deported. Most Americans are supporting Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, and all of these ICE agents. They want them deported. And most Americans, I contend, are sick of these Marxist, leftist, progressives known as the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool to hear him give that history about the Republican Party in Texas, because the way Jasmine Crockett tells it, whoa, it's such a racist place, and
she's not even from Texas.
Right.
So let's just do that. But the founding of our party, the founding of the Republican Party, is a beautiful story, right? But one of the things I think that he hit on that was really incredibly telling is this replacement theory, like you were talking about. And we said the other night that brown is the new black. And black Democrats should be smelling what the rock is cooking, honey, because they're coming for you. But this is indicative of what they want. They want what they used to have in blacks. They want people who feel like their connection to this nation only comes to them through this party, right? You can't be free thinking. You can't say, well, you guys kind of screwed us on taxes last time, so I'm not going to vote for you this time. No. Your very foundation in this nation is because of this party, brought to you by the Democrat Party. That can't be the narrative. It just cannot. The problem that I personally have with the people in our legislature, our Congress and Senate, let's say the greater Congress, the problem I have with them is that they're always advocating for them and not for us.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And
for them and not for us.
You're right. And that takes us to the next clip. Before we do, I want to acknowledge our super chatters. Thank you so much. All right, Tijuana Border Jumper. Hi, T. Says, Nicole, glad to see you. Dang, Shelly, he scared me. Everyone looks lovely as usual. Thank you so much for your $20 super chat. We certainly appreciate you. Tyrone,
hey,
$5 super chat.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Deej, $5 super sticker.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all so much. Again, this is the end of July for us. This broadcast is our last broadcast for the month. We want to go out with a bang, so your super chats go a long way in helping us do that. Also, we appreciate the support.
Yes,
so please continue those super chats to help to keep us online, and like, share, and subscribe. Our goal is to hit 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day. We can do it with your help. Share this broadcast, send it in a DM, post it on your social media, and of course, subscribe. So I want to get back to what you said, Nicole, about how these Democrats think we're slaves. And they do not have our best interest at heart. They only want to stay in power, and they want to do that any way possible. And that takes us back here in Maryland. So Maryland's in the news, national news today. Democrats thought they could barge into a federal ICE facility and force agents to answer for doing their job, detaining illegal immigrants.
My gosh.
So when they were denied access per federal security protocol, they threw a sit-in, banged on doors, and ran to the media crying cover-up. What they won't tell you is that this is part of a national campaign to demonize ICE and sabotage Trump's America First immigration policies. Meanwhile, American citizens are dealing with crime, fentanyl, and chaos. And these politicians are worried about blanket access to illegals. Take a look at this clip. This is clip 5.
Well, I just came out of the federal building here in Baltimore where I joined my colleagues in the Maryland Congressional delegation, trying to get to the 6th floor, trying to exercise our legal right and authority for oversight over ICE facilities. And the law is very clear that we have the right on behalf of our constituents to conduct oversight at any facility that is detaining or otherwise housing folks. We were denied the ability to visit. I specifically wore comfy shoes, pants today, knowing that we might have to sit on the floor for a while, and we did. And I thought about my grandmother, whose parents were immigrants from Poland, and this was hers today when I got dressed this morning, because every American is connected to what's happening here in this facility in Baltimore.
Wow. This is what they're doing sit-ins for. This is while we have astronomical crime, while we have all types of issues here in Maryland, they decide to sit in for illegals. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this?
Unfortunately, this is what they're doing. Congress is on recess, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So now they have all the time to show their asses in the federal building. You know where they didn't go? I wanted to ask, why didn't they go to the IRS? Why didn't they barge in there and ask to see the accounting records and how many people, how much we're paying in taxes, and that they can advocate for the reduced taxes and the less government, if you will. There are a whole lot of offices in that federal building. These are the people, again, they represent Maryland. Maryland is always in the news for foolishness, crime, lack of education, all kinds of stuff, but never for anything positive in a sense. All these government programs, Kwesi sitting his ass down there like a slave waiting to be served something, and all these other representatives. I forget her name, Nicole. You might know her name.
Oh, Angela Also Brooks.
Yeah, Angela Also
Brooks. Yeah, Also
there,
Brooks. Yeah,
right?
these people do not mean us well. They are only doing this for their own benefit and to remain in power. And unfortunately, in Maryland, it's probably going to work to their benefit.
Yeah, Nicole. I mean, it was 6 of them, 6 Democrats, including Van Hollen, Senator Also Brooks, she's a new one, denied full access to an ICE holding room in Baltimore. They claimed they were there to check on conditions. They didn't give any prior notice, which contradicts their surprise oversight narrative.
You know, you're looking for MD Dems, you're usually going to find them sitting on their ass while the world is doing good, right? Here's the problem that they have. Consider this. Their drive to Baltimore could not have been any different than the drive that I drive in to Baltimore, right? Because I have to drive past Washington, D.C. to get here. So they also saw the junkie zombies.
Yeah.
They also saw the homeless people. They probably drove past 1 or 2 people who were recently robbed, raped, or maimed. Did they stop? Did they sit there? Did they sit there and say, junkie zombie who sat in the middle of the road, let me help you? No. They drove around them to do this publicity stunt for people in Maryland who are already fed up.
Right.
When you talk about Democrat, socialist, and Democrat, these little subgroups, we have all of that here in Maryland. But one thing that we don't have in Maryland here are legislators who give a damn about people who live in Maryland. What they're interested in is retaining power.
That's it.
Yep.
Getting these brown people to vote for them, because black people are starting to wake up. Black men, most specifically, are starting to wake up. And I don't mean wake up in a sense of woke, like they say woke, but I mean wake up in when you're growing up in politics, it's no longer just about I like this team versus that team. You actually look at your personal value set and you measure it against each party and go, well, I have more in common with these people than I do with those people. So this is the way I'm going to vote on these issues. And if I find a candidate who really talks about that, that's who I'm going to vote for. They didn't vote for any of these people. Also, Brooks beat Larry Hogan because she's black.
That's it.
Make no
And
mistake.
female.
Make no mistake. This is the reason why we have Wes Moore untried governor, because he's black. And look at what has happened. We have got to stop doing this to ourselves. But in this blue state, if you're a black Democrat, there's almost a 100% electability rate over any color Republican, whether you have good policy or not. This is what we got. We got our federal leaders sitting on the floor.
Of a federal bill.
On the floor, like a bunch of yit-yits. It makes me crazy because, listen, we got so much stuff we need to be doing.
I hope they get hemorrhoids. And you brought up a good point. You brought up a very good point. So while these Maryland Democrats are banging on ICE office doors to protect illegals, children, as you said, Nicole, are being murdered and left to rot in car trunks in their own state. Where was they? Where was the sit-in?
None.
For Jocelyn and Larry, I believe.
Yeah.
Two innocent babies failed by the system. I want you guys to take a look at this next video. There was no outrage for these children. There was no outrage for, like Nicole said, the crime, the drugs, the trafficking that is all up and down Baltimore City and other areas of this state. But they're sitting in for illegals. Take a look at our good guys in blue, our police officers who do not get enough credit. Take a look at this traffic stop that occurred in Baltimore City just a couple of years ago, but has become public just recently. This is clip 6.
Open it up, ma'am.
I did.
Unroll the whole thing. What? Open that up. Open that up. What the f***? Get the f*** in! Put your hands up! Don't you f***! Turn over right now! You under arrest! Don't you move! Don't you move! Put your hands behind your back! Put your hands behind your back!
What I do?
What the f***?
It's not mine!
What the f***? What the f***? Gloves, everything. Okay.
Everybody should have gloves and a mask on.
So man, yo. What's in there, bro? It's a baby, yo. Come on. Please. Relax, bro. I need you to breathe. Good instincts, okay? I need you to breathe, okay? I'm good. I need you. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
Can I ask you?
No.
I'm sorry. I just want to ask you one.
There's nothing for me to talk about with you. Do you understand that?
No.
More officers begin to arrive and can only guess at what has the other officers in such a sickened state.
I'm gonna say pepper spray happened. No. It's a dead baby in that bag. Oh, what? Hey, you come back. It looks like a kid that's curled up in there. I don't want to look, man. Nope. Just wait.
Hold up for a minute. Something just happened there.
You're not okay.
No.
Ain't not okay. I wasn't okay. That's why I took off. I sat there and I dug through that stuff the whole time.
My God. You see that? The police were throwing up. They were crying out of what they saw. So let me tell you guys what happened. On July 28th, 2021, Nicole Michelle Johnson, a 33-year-old Baltimore woman, was arrested after police found the decomposing bodies of her niece, Jocelyn Marie James Johnson, who was 7, and her nephew, Larry Darnell O'Neill, he was just 5, in the trunk of her car during a traffic stop in Essex, Maryland. The case revealed severe neglect and malnourishment, leading to Johnson's guilty plea and a 50-year prison sentence. She was just sentenced this February 2025. The case highlighted failures in child welfare oversight, with questions about Maryland's Department of Human Services involvement and the need for better enforcement of mandatory abuse reporting laws. Now, that woman was a hooker, and that area where she was picked up is a well-known area where people traffic, prostitute, all sorts of things. Where's the sit-ins for this area? Where are the sit-ins for the children that have been abused and neglected? Where are the sit-ins for the failing schools in Baltimore City? We don't see any of these Democrats doing that, but they're taking their time to do sit-ins for criminal illegals.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Two things. One, real quick, I wanted to say when you were talking about the senators sitting on their ass. Pennsylvania Avenue a couple weeks ago, we had the overdose, the mass overdose. That is Kwesi Infame's district. Not only that, he grew up in that area.
You would never know it because where was he?
Where was he? Sitting on his ass in the Fallon building.
Wait. I'm waiting for a statement.
Their votes don't matter.
Their votes don't matter. Not
Absolutely.
only that, children, the toddlers, see, they can't vote.
Right.
So they have no stake, if you will. They have no need for them. The politicians have no need for them at that young age, certainly. They don't have a need for them in most cases in Baltimore City because all they want is for people to vote for them to keep them in power. If you can't keep them in power, then they have no use for you. They can't exploit you even because you're not even going to vote for them. But this is the bigger problem. Again, who we're voting for and why. Are we only voting for people because, we know them and they grew up here and, they one of us, but while they're sitting there in the Fallon building or down in D.C., doing absolutely nothing to make better the communities that they're supposed to represent. They're not putting the criminals away. As a matter of fact, Kwesi Infame and the likes of him are the ones who advocate for criminals to get out.
Yep.
These same people will put the criminals back into the communities so we can have people like this nut woman, this murderer, basically what she is, because she murdered those two children. It ultimately came out that they died from starvation, malnutrition, abuse, blunt force trauma. And to the autopsy or the medical examiner's credit, they said the injuries were so extensive and the bodies were so decomposed, they couldn't exactly pinpoint how they died. But all of these things are cumulative to, are leading to the deaths of these children. The politicians don't give a damn. They don't care. We need an overhaul of the human services system. We need an overhaul of the welfare and the child abuse system, if you will, and monitoring these children. We need an overhaul. But no, they're sitting down in the Fallon building and all across the United States. What's the other lady name who was the congressman for Hidden Ice? All these making movies, if you will.
This is a photo.
Yes.
It's theater.
It's for their donors.
Yes.
And it is to show the brown community that they are their choice. Right? You can't vote red. You have to vote brown because that is your choice. When I watched this video, I watched it from beginning to end when I was out sick with my asthma attack. And for many, many reasons, I was horrified from beginning to end. The fact that this woman, is a second generation prostitute, right? The fact that her sister had an 8-month-old when they came to check in, right? And she gave her these two children like they were disposable handbags. Like, here, have a couple of kids, right? And when she talked to the cops about how she disciplined, how she beat this little 6-year-old with her balled up fist, throwing rights and lefts to the body of this small child, it broke my heart. But what was even worse is when you see the humanity that these police officers had. And the restraint it took to not knock her damn block off for what she had done. And she's going to take off running like they're pulling her over for a flat tire or, out of date tags. Where were you going to run to with 2 dead babies in bags?
You could hear one of the officers retching in the back.
Oh, they're all throwing up.
Yeah.
It was horrible and sickening.
He was trying to stop him vomiting. Yeah.
But listen, when did we hear any of these elected officials who are sitting on their ass say anything about it? Not one thing. And not just about this viral video, but about the horrible state of Maryland's punishment for this. Because yes, she was convicted. Yes, she was sentenced to 50 years. Who wants to bet me dollars to donuts in 10 years? She's going to be out.
She's going to
be out, and she'll be back doing the family trade because this is what she does. She'll be back hooking again.
But they let her out.
They let everybody out.
First of all, there's no death penalty in Maryland. Number one, they got rid of that, so that threat is not even there. You can't even use that as a bargaining tool. Number two, we see across the country country, many criminals are let out even if they go in with no parole because there's somebody who's going to come up and argue something about their sentence, the trial, whatever, or just they serve good behavior, so they can get out. This happens all the time, and these people are put back into the general public, and these representatives are supposed to be representing us, but they don't care. They can go sit on their asses in the Fallon building, still collect their $180,000+ a check a year, and keep it moving and stay in power. I don't understand. I don't know what's going to wake people up. I don't know.
The thing that really bothered me about this story was thinking about, so she killed the girl first.
That's what it sounds like. Yep,
and
she did.
She killed her a couple weeks, I think, before the boy died. And I just thought about him wondering, where's his sister?
Right.
Did he see her kill the girl? And if he didn't, the trauma that he went through during that period before she killed him, wondering where his sister is. I mean, this is just, and to even think that she could get out in 10 years?
The depravity of it. But what's even more depraved in her act is the way that our state looks at crime and punishment.
Yep.
There's not one place in this country where this woman shouldn't be under the jail if they allowed her to live. Because, honey, if this was Texas, they'd be rolling her sleeve up right now. Alabama, she'd be sitting in Big Mama greased up like a fresh piece of chicken. They would fry her butt for everything she's worth because they value life. They value life, and we don't have that.
Many people on our side, conservative Republicans, independent, whatever, many people say that we're not compassionate. Compassion, as I'm thinking, one of the most misused, misapplied words, because even like you said, our justice system often has compassion for the criminal. And I'm not talking about at the trial level, because the trial is supposed to be there to present evidence on both sides. But when it's known, when the facts and the data say and prove that this criminal did XYZ, some heinous crime. I'm not talking about just your average going and stealing things. Those are crimes, yes. But where is the compassion for the real victims, the children like Jocelyn and Larry and other children who have been murdered, beaten, starved to death? Where's the compassion from our legal system and the people who are supposed to be looking out for the innocent, the people who have done nothing, who can't defend themselves? Where's that compassion? Compassion, like many other words and concepts, have been so misused, misapplied, and abused, primarily by the left. And we're confused.
And then they create new ones.
Yeah,
they create new ones that don't make a bit of sense, and they're all out of whack.
I can tell you that I know quite a few sitting judges here in this state who are fine human beings who do value life, but they can only sentence what the law allows. True. This is a legislative problem. Every year they go back to Annapolis, January to April, and they write these little crappy laws and new regulations and fees and fines, but no one is really looking out for us.
Exactly.
Very few. I would say, one of my favorite legislators, and I don't just say this because he's a friend of mine, but Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan is a fantastic legislator because at any point in time, you can talk to him and say, Matt, I got this problem. I had an issue with a patient at one of my offices, and he was out of control and all of this. The amount of hoops I had to jump through to handle him was like, it would be easier just for me to go over to his house and work this out than follow the legal. You got to go to court. You got to get a this. You got to get a that. And you got to wait for him to come to court. All of this foolishness is the way our law is written. Right. And it's written by these legislators. Yep. So when we have someone who's really responsive like Matt, this is foolish. Let's sit down and talk about it. How can we streamline it to make it easier for everybody else? Great. But most legislators won't do that. Again, try to go to Angela Alsobrooks' office in Washington, D.C. Try to roll up on her like she rolled up on that ICE facility and see what happens to you. Well, there's no such thing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the laws, a new law may be coming out about the insider trading. So I want you guys to take a look at this. Before we do, I got to acknowledge our super chatters. Thank you all so much. All right, we have Terry, the $5 super chat. Thank you. All right, we have Mud Chat joined our Freedom Seekers Club.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mud Chat.
Thank you so much. All right, Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat.
Absolutely,
says this was a demonic act. I pray God has mercy on her.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah. Jessica Price is a freedom seeker. Says on Tuesday, Virginia GOP Lee Vogler was doused and with gas and set on fire.
Yeah.
He is currently in critical condition. Luckily, he got away from the guy. I saw that.
Yeah.
This is a wicked, wicked world. Yes, indeed. Thank you all so much. Please, if you guys come in, hit that like button. It really helps YouTube to push us out in front of more people. So we definitely want to do that. That is our aim. Hit that like button and subscribe. We have a goal to get 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day. We need your help.
Absolutely.
I saw a chat from somebody who commented on another video we posted and said they were happy that we reminded them to subscribe when we said this. So I'm reminding you all.
Subscribe, please subscribe.
Yes, indeed. All right. So speaking of laws, we got to get into this press conference that President Trump did today, and also a new law that is actually being suggested by, I forgot his name. I think it was
Josh Hawley.
Hawley. Yes.
I love Hawley.
Josh Hawley, I do too.
He's so good.
So take a look at this next clip. This is clip 11.
Say that we have an opportunity here today to do something that the public has wanted us to do for decades, and that is to ban members of Congress from profiting on information that, frankly, only members of Congress have in the buying and selling of stock. 86% of Americans say that members of Congress should not be able to buy and sell shares of stock, individual stock, while they are members of this body, and they are absolutely correct. And the reason is, you can see it, there was just another ethics referral in the House last week. We've seen the former Speaker of the House make millions of dollars in profits. We've seen members of both parties, I'm sad to say, be investigated for their stock trades. And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not. Now, is that insider trading? It is not under the laws. Sometimes people say, well, we already have insider trading laws. We don't need a stock ban. Well, the information that members of Congress are privy to is technically not covered by the insider trading laws, but nobody really believes that the information that we get isn't valuable. It is quite valuable, which is why back
it conceptually, and Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated, because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made. And she ought to be investigated.
All right. So hopefully those investigations get started. What are your thoughts, Nicole?
Let me tell you, where's my popcorn? It's going to be good. It's going to be so, so good. And it's about time. Of course, we have the Stock Act, STOCK Act, and that makes them report when they get more than, I think it's $1,000, maybe $1,500. But that's not enough. It's not enough. And Josh Hawley, I agree with you, Jessica. He's super cute, and he's absolutely right. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely right in this moment. They do have sensitive information, and they are acting on it, and their spouses are acting on that information, and it's wholly unfair. When Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio outperforms the S&P 500, it tells me either her husband is a genius, and we know that not to be true. We know that absolutely not to be true, or she's pillow talking. She's telling him things that are making it easier for him to play the odds and win big. And that's not fair. There should be some criminal time for her, at least from my estimation. Once they do a full and complete investigation, she's probably going to blame her husband. That's probably going to be her best bet, blaming her husband. But, I think Paul's, 85 now? 84, 85?
Really old.
Lock him up. Probably not trading stocks, I'm sure.
Yeah. But before I get you in on this, Shelley, I want to show you guys. So Nancy Pelosi was asked about this press conference, President Trump calling her out, and she was razzled. And before we play that, I want to say, Congressman Gill is better looking than Hawley.
Well, first of all, Congressman Gill is very good looking too. Josh Hawley is very good looking as well.
He is too, but Gill is my guy. That's my Superman.
But Hawley has that that Mad Men 1950s comb over thing going.
Yeah. But take a look at Nancy Pelosi melting down. This is clip 14.
Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider.
All right.
Foolishness.
So, yeah, she was trying to wiggle herself out of that. It was as loose as her teeth. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that?
Look, not millions, I'm sorry, many Americans have been prosecuted for insider trading.
Absolutely.
Right? Good, bad, right or wrong, indifferent, or misapplication of the law. Why do we allow our congressional representatives to actually do the same, or to not be charged? I'm not saying Josh Hawley is wrong. I don't understand why technically when Congress does it, it's not under the definition of insider trading. I don't understand that fully. That's just my lack of understanding. But I do understand when the Stock Act is talking about when they do trade stocks, they're supposed to report it, I think 30 days or at least annually, what stocks they have, but they do have access to sensitive information.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. So they don't have access to the actual trades, but they have access to information prior to it becoming a trade that
may or may not, but it's a little technicality.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. They're splitting hairs.
They're splitting hairs, right? Because there's plenty of Americans have been prosecuted under this act or this law. Nevertheless, to not prosecute our Congress or congressional representatives really sets up a two-tier system. Mm-hmm. It really makes it look like there's justice or there's laws for thee, and then there's laws for the rest of us.
Exactly.
So it feeds into that narrative, that perception. It should just be wrong. If you have access to all these lobbyists and networking and hearings and things like that will give you information, your family members as well, because by you being a virtue of a member of Congress, your family members will benefit, and then you can put the blame on them. Joe Biden did it. He didn't trade stocks necessarily, but he had his family dipping in all kinds of government sources and resources.
Maxine Waters.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Maxine Waters, a lot of them Democrats, but it's both parties.
Absolutely.
Because they both have access. We can't do it. Martha Stewart, God bless her, went to jail for however long. Yeah. Other people have as well. What's this guy's name? The most famous one, Taryn Peaser. He's gone to jail. These people have spent time in jail, lost their livelihoods for the same things that Congress is doing. And not only that, so if this is insider trading, then that sets us up for the regular Americans when we get advice from our financial advisors, because they're supposed to advise us fiduciary reasons for our benefit. So technically, we could all be prosecuted, but not Congress. We need to stop this. We don't have a two-tier justice system, or at least we should not have it. And the appearance of one is equally problematic.
But aren't you? But folks, I want to get your comments on this. Do you feel that Nicole and Shelley are being cruel and heartless by advocating for an old lady like Nancy Pelosi to be put in jail?
First of all, they ought to put her under the jail.
Just go ahead and bury her now.
Alligator Alcatraz. Open up a room.
Just bury her
for her and Paul. I don't want to bust up the family.
Lay her out in the halls of Congress.
I don't want to bust up the family. Send them both.
Lay her out in the halls of Congress. Just lay her out. I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah. Well, we will see. We will continue to follow this story, folks, as you guys come in. If you're coming in, hit that like button. It helps to get our video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe.
Can I say this, KJ?
Of course you can.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is, like I said, about this two-tier justice system, if you will, that we are not supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of the problem is that many Americans, we ascribe these powers and put these people on pedestals, and we, in our own mind, or at least we go along with the thinking, if you will, the belief that, oh, they're different, they're better than us. You know, they have this office and they have this title and whatever else. We need to stop that, because that's working to our detriment. They are people elected from among us to represent us, not to go there and ingratiate and enrich themselves off of us. That's not what they're supposed to do. So part of the problem, maybe to a lesser degree, is that many Americans, we had this mindset that, oh, so-and-so is a congressman or so-and-so is this. I don't give a damn. I don't care. As my mother would say, God rest her soul, they put their pants on just like you and I do.
Ma'am.
One leg at a time.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, indeed.
I think Mr. Smith Goes to Washington should be required watching, or, you know, at least on a list somewhere for high school students. It gives you a better idea of what it's supposed to be when you're elected by the people to go to Washington to represent us. It is not a get out of jail free card. It is not a Black American Express card.
Exactly.
It's none of those things. In fact, getting elected is the easy part. Once you arrive there, that's when the hard work starts, because yes, you have to represent your constituents. You have a new staff. You have to meet places you have to be. And oh, by the way, you start fundraising the day after you take your seat. You have to continually fundraise, not only for yourself, but also for the party. So what we've done is we've made what was so simple and so pure and so clean into this big, massive corporation of greed and infamy sometimes. Right. You know, it just makes it harder than it's supposed to be, and we have no one to blame but ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, we will continue to follow this story. I really hope that this does become law. So we have some super chatters here. Thank you all so much. Tracy, join our Freedom Seekers Club.
Tracy, that's
folks,
amazing.
Thank you so much, Tracy. This is a great way to support the channel. Also, join our Freedom Seekers Club, and we appreciate your support. So thank you so much, Tracy. Kung Fu CJ says Nancy's word salad was worse than Kamala's.
Yes, it was. It had ranch dressing on the side. Absolutely. She was doing her best.
Yes, it was. Absolutely. All right, folks, that does it for us tonight. We will be back on Friday, actually this weekend. We'll be back sometime this weekend for our weekend show, generally either Friday or Saturday. In the meantime, you can check us out. You can check out, Thursday, tomorrow, I have Christian Conservative at KJ Christian Conservative right here on YouTube. If you want a biblical perspective on the news and politics, Christian Conservative perspective, check me out at KJ Christian Conservative. All right. And then Saturday, we have Just the Guys show. Just the Guys podcast. You can check them out at Just the Guys podcast. They give you a guy's perspective on a lot of these issues, actually a male conservative perspective. So check them out. And then, as you guys saw last night, we had the All-American Talk Show. You got to go back and watch that. The All-American Talk Show with Lieutenant Colonel, Alan West was on. So you can check them out at All-American Talk. It was a phenomenal broadcast, and you don't want to miss it. All right, so we are going to sign out tonight with a clip of President Trump. People always call him misogynist. They call him all kinds of hateful words. Here is the cutest clip of him with his granddaughter, and he is so proud of her being such a phenomenal athlete. So, folks, we're going to sign off with this clip. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Take a look. This is clip 12.
Chloe, do you want to come over? Chloe is she's a great golfer, a great talented golfer. She's probably the most talented golfer other than Kai, but I think it's about the same, right? Don't you think? Yeah. She hits the ball long. This little girl has a lot of muscle, right? Yeah. So, and she wins every tournament she plays in of her age.
Yes, very fun.
You love golf, right?
Yes.
But she's a great athlete.